At 2:10 in the afternoon, Nira stood in the dim hallway of the 11th floor of the Riverside Orchid Hotel, clutching her cleaning cart. She'd just finished room 1107. The next should have been 1109. But across the hall, the door to room 1110 was slightly ajar. She checked her clipboard again, number 1110. The list skipped straight to 1111. Still, the air from the open door felt cool, freshly conditioned. The room looked occupied. Someone had checked in without being registered. Nira had worked at the Riverside Orchid for almost 3 years. The hotel was one of those mid-range towers near the Chao Phraya River. Cheap for tourists, good tips from foreigners. Her shift started at 8 a.m., 6 days a week. She wore the same pale blue uniform, hair tied back, name tag pinned straight. She didn't mind the work. The rhythm soothed her. Strip the beds, empty the trash, fold the towels, restock the mini fridge, check the lights. The guests were all the same. Couples on vacation, businessmen from Singapore, backpackers with loud music in their earbuds. Most didn't even look at her. That morning had been like any other, until she got to the 11th floor. She stood outside room 1110 for a long moment, listening. No voices, no movement. The cleaning light on the panel wasn't on, but the Do Not Disturb sign hung crooked on the handle. The air smelled faintly of perfume, something expensive, floral, and sharp. She knocked softly. Housekeeping. Silence. She pushed the door gently. It opened wider. Inside, the curtains were drawn halfway, letting in streaks of Bangkok sunlight. The bed was unmade, sheets tangled. 2 glasses sat on the table, one half full of water. And on the bed, an open laptop. The screen glowed faintly, a black window with white text. She couldn't read English well, but she recognized numbers. Rows and rows of timestamps. It looked like security footage. A live feed. Something about the stillness made her uneasy. She stepped closer. On the screen, a hotel hallway appeared. Not this one, but another floor, maybe the lobby. A man in a white shirt stood near the elevator, facing the camera. He wasn't moving. He was staring directly at it. Then the feed flickered. The angle changed. Now it showed the hallway outside room 1110. Nira's hand froze on the mouse pad. The screen refreshed. The image updated. She saw herself, standing in the doorway, staring at the screen. Her breath caught. She looked around the room. Empty, silent. No one behind her. She shut the laptop, heart hammering, and backed out of the room. The door closed quietly. She tried to laugh it off. Maybe the hotel's tech team had left it on, testing cameras. But a chill crawled across her neck. She looked down the hallway. White walls, patterned carpet, soft humming from the air vents. Then something small clicked. Every other door on the floor was closed tight, with the locks flashing red. Except 1110. The lock had turned green when she left. Someone inside had locked it. Back downstairs, she told her supervisor, Molly, about the room. "There's number 1110 on today's list," Molly said, flipping through the clipboard. She called the front desk. "Can you check who's staying in room 1110? A pause, then a voice through the receiver. "Room 1110 is unoccupied. Maintenance only." Molly frowned. Maybe security used it. Maybe, Nira said. But something in her gut told her it wasn't maintenance. She tried to forget it. She finished her shift, clocked out at 5, and took the bus home. The noise of the city, the engines, the shouting, the constant heat should have been comforting. But every time she blinked, she saw that camera feed. That man, and her own face staring back. But that was only the beginning. The next day, at 7:55 a.m., Nira arrived early. Molly handed her a new list. Room 1110 was printed at the bottom. "Maintenance finished," Molly said. "You can clean it today." Nira hesitated. Someone was there yesterday. Molly waved her off. "Probably just the engineers checking wiring. Don't take so long today, we're short-staffed." By 10:30, Nira was back on the 11th floor. The door to 1110 was closed now. Locked. She took a breath and swiped her keycard. Green light. Click. The smell hit her immediately. Not perfume this time. Bleach. Strong. Chemical. Harsh. The bed was stripped. The laptop was gone. In the corner, a small black box sat plugged into the wall. At first, she thought it was a Wi-Fi router. But when she bent down, she saw the lens. A camera, pointing at the bed. She unplugged it instinctively and placed it on the table. Her heart pounded again. The label underneath read, "Security property, do not remove." But there were no security cameras inside guest rooms. Not legally. She took a photo with her phone, just in case. At lunch, she showed it to Molly. The supervisor frowned. "Don't tell guests about this. Probably an old test device. We'll report it." But her voice trembled slightly. And that night, when Nira passed through the staff hall, she saw two men from security talking quietly to Molly. They stopped talking when they saw her. The following morning, room 1110 disappeared from her list again. But now, another number was missing too. And when she walked past, its door was open, same as before. Inside, a young man in a gray uniform was wiping the windows. "Not housekeeping. Are you with maintenance?" she asked. He looked over, startled. "Yes, just camera check." He smiled. Too quickly. Behind him, on the table, she saw another black box. Same kind, same red light blinking. "How many of those are there?" she asked. He shrugged. "Only for safety." Then he added softly, "You should not ask." Something in his tone, flat, almost kind, made her step back. When she blinked, he had already unplugged the device. She watched him carry it to the door, nod politely, and disappear down the hall. But she noticed one thing he left behind. A single strip of clear tape near the floor, stretching across the doorway. A trip sensor. She hadn't broken it coming in, which meant he'd placed it after she entered. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept checking her phone, staring at the photo of the camera. At 11:47, she got a text from an unknown number. "You left the door open." No name, no emoji. She deleted it instantly, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She didn't tell anyone. The next day, she arrived early again. The elevator ride felt slower than usual, as if the building were breathing around her. When the doors opened on the 11th floor, all the lights were on. Too bright. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and something metallic. Her cleaning cart was there, but the clipboard was gone. Taped to the handle was a folded note. In neat handwriting. "Today, 11:10 again." Her name wasn't signed. She almost went back down. But curiosity, or maybe fear, pushed her forward. When she reached the room, she noticed the peephole. It wasn't like the others. It was reversed. She could see the lens glinting outward. Someone could look out through it, not in. She turned the handle slowly. The door was unlocked. The air inside was cold. The bed was made, but too perfect, as if unused. And in the center of the floor, placed neatly on the carpet, was a small brown envelope. Inside were printed photos, still frames from the camera feed. Each one showed her cleaning. Different days, different angles. Her bending to pick up towels, her changing pillowcases, her wiping mirrors. The last photo was different. It showed her looking directly at the camera, but she didn't remember doing that. She dropped the envelope and ran to the hallway. The corridor was empty. No sounds but the soft hum of air conditioning. For a long time, she just stood there, shaking. Then, from somewhere down the hall, a door clicked shut. But she wasn't alone anymore. The camera room. That afternoon, she found an excuse to go to the basement. Security offices were down there, next to storage. She waited until no one was watching and slipped into the back corridor. Through a half-open door, she saw screens, dozens of them, showing every hallway and elevator. A man sat at the monitor wall, back turned, sipping coffee. She stepped closer. On one screen, she saw the 11th floor. Her own cart parked outside 1110. Then another feed caught her eye. It showed inside a room. Not a hallway, inside. Room 1110. The same bed, same curtains. And on the bed, the envelope she'd just dropped. The timestamp read 12:08 p.m. She glanced at her phone. 12:08 exactly. The feed was live. The camera was still on. The security man noticed her then. He turned sharply. "What are you doing here?" I was looking for Molly," she stammered. He frowned, eyes narrowing. "This area is restricted." Behind him, on the monitor, the feed from 1110 changed. Now it showed the hallway outside. And there she was, standing in the basement doorway. The camera was following her. The man turned, saw the same thing, and his face went pale. He reached for the keyboard, trying to switch screens. Static flickered across all monitors. Then black. The power flickered across the basement. For a few seconds, only emergency lights glowed red. Then, one monitor came back. A single feed. The door stood wide open. The camera panned slowly across the room, as if someone were moving it. It stopped on the mirror above the bed. Behind the mirror, faint outlines. Wires, boxes, lenses. There wasn't one hidden camera. There were 5, each one aimed at different parts of the room. The man muttered something under his breath and yanked the plug from the wall. The screen went dark. Then, through the silence, came the sound of a door opening upstairs. They both froze. The elevator was out, but they heard footsteps. Soft, deliberate, descending the stairwell. The man whispered, "Stay here," and moved toward the noise. Nira didn't stay. She ran the opposite direction, through the back exit, into the loading bay, out into the humid afternoon air. When she finally stopped, blocks away, her lungs burned. The city felt too bright, too alive, too normal. But her phone buzzed again. Another message. This one from Molly. "Security wants to speak with you about property damage." She never went back. 2 weeks later, news spread through the staff chat. The Riverside Orchid had changed owners. New management. New security team. Molly was gone. So was the night guard. Room 1110 was sealed off, under renovation, the post said. No one was allowed on that floor for months. Then, quietly, the hotel reopened under a new name. Sometimes, when Nira scrolled through local forums, she'd see new tourist reviews. Great view from the 11th floor. Nice staff, clean rooms. Strange mirror placement above the bed. She tried not to think about it. But late at night, when she turned off her lights, she'd catch her reflection in the small mirror across her bed. For a moment, it would look normal. Then, just before she closed her eyes, she'd swear she saw a tiny red light blinking back.